It's a crying shame that in a free country, when freedom of speech is supposed to be, valid and to the point where we have to watch what we say or they'll censor us. That's not freedom of speech.
And history is not what we were taught.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
we've been lied to for 150 some odd years.
we are going to take back our country and the world. Welcome back. Okay, we're going to delve deeper into this, and it's the part 2 on slavery versus sovereignty. Now, if you think that you're an independent, you got freedom of speech, everything else, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and you're in America currently, understand that you don't have those freedoms anymore. So how would you like to take back your sovereignty? Okay, and literally, if you're looking at society now, the herd of society is going in one direction, and it's being manipulated by powers that have control over you. So you are in a slavery system right now. What we're talking to now is Dennis and Diane, and let me introduce them. These guys are genius. They're warriors. They're actually going out to get you your freedoms that have ever been taken away from you back. And it's legal and it works, and it's exciting. Now, Diane Kaiser, pro soccer player turned functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, courage coach. Good God, you are the definition of courage coach. Okay, I mean, oh my God, holistic beauty expert, co-founder of the Truth Tribe. She's a member of the American State National Assembly of Arizona and is leading the way to seek out personal power through speaking the inner truth. I mean, this gal is a warrior. God bless you, Diane. Thank you. Okay. And Dennis Mill, previous sheriff of Ohio, who served for 6 years before running for president in 2012. After you hear this man speak, okay, articulate, focused, and actually cares about the public and the world, you're going to be kicking yourself in the pants you didn't vote for him in 2012. He served as justice of the state, sheriff of Yavapai County, and Arizona state chairman, recorder, and coordinator for the Arizona Assembly, and leading the way for others to reclaim their sovereignty. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Okay, now, with all of the things going on in our society, you both are in a position to help us reclaim it, and you are doing that. I've got a couple of questions. What's the difference between a wartime and a peacetime flag? I saw a couple of presenters, because there's people getting their sovereignty back around the world. What's the difference?
The difference is the wartime flag is the flag that everybody flies on the 4th of July and the holidays and all that thing like that. No one knew there was a peacetime flag. The peacetime flag has been out since the beginning of time, since the United States, and the United States of America. And it used to fly on all of the buildings back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Okay. Then the corporations came in. All right. So the flags, they switched because of, World War I, World War II. They had the wartime flags and everybody was rah, rah, America, which is a great thing to do. But they never changed the flag back to peacetime flag. Why? Because they were always in a war. And everybody became accustomed to the flag that's flying on every flagpole and house now. That's actually the wartime flag. The civil flag is the stripes are the other way. We're at peacetime. And the flag now that has the gold fringe, the United States has been captured. The
Wow.
gold fringe. And that means maritime flag, which means it's run by the Pope and the Queen, the British territorial government.
Now, what's the difference between land and soil jurisdiction and admiralty law? Because there's a lot of talk about the Queen, the Pope, America, and in the standard mind of an American, those are separate.
Right. The maritime law is run by the Queen, all inland waterways, oceans, and whatever. She's supposed to protect everybody that's on the high seas. That's maritime law. That's British territorial law. The land and the soil is the 6 inches, the soil is the 6 inches of the top part of the ground, and the land is beneath that. So the land and soil is international, and we belong on the land and soil, and we are the owners, the people. We, the people, are the owners of the land and soil. Um, excuse me. So anytime you're on the inland waterways, you're under the rule of the Queen. We're allowed to go out boating and fishing and so on like that, but you have to observe maritime law when you're out there in your boat or whatever you're doing on the waterways. They have control of that.
Now, okay, I've heard that there's different constitutions.
There are.
And I mean, the average Joe like me 3 weeks ago, I thought we had one constitution, and I thought that that was being just dissolved because all of the rights that I thought were guaranteed to me were gone. What are three different constitutions?
Okay, the three different constitutions, you actually know what the Constitution is. A lot of people don't know that there are three. Okay, they're contracts for the people to keep the government in line. That's why when Biden was running for president, the Constitution's just another piece of paper. Same thing with, when Obama was in there. We don't need the Constitution. It's just a useless piece of paper. They want to get rid of that because it holds them bound to what the people have the rights to be and to have. So there are three: the territorial, the municipal, and for us, we actually live under the Declaration of Independence and the amendments and the articles.
So the Constitution is a contract that we can keep the government in check.
Correct.
We live under the Declaration of Independence.
Correct.
Okay, who formed the other constitutions? The one with the isn't the amendments as well as part of the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, those are for we the people. The constitutions are to keep the government and the corporations in check. So, but they're running amok. They're getting rid of them. They're making laws like all those statutes and everything that they say, well, you can't do over 35 miles an hour, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you have to have license plates on your cars. It's all corporate law. It's put out by the corporations to bilk as much money out of us as they possibly can. That's all those are. As an American national, you don't have to pay any attention to any of those laws because they're all statutes. They're not laws. They're laws for the people in the corporations. And as a U.S. citizen, okay, you have no right to the Constitution because you are a corporation yourself because of your birth certificate. And until you deny that and become an American national and call them on it, all right, change your paperwork. We call it changing your political status, bringing yourself back to the land and soil, because the people on the land and the soil are the lawful government.
Now, Diane, you were describing last time that you're driving with no driver's license. You're driving with this like literally card. And I started getting that. And we actually ordered some red ink so I can do my thumbprint.
Yay.
And and I was going to get my picture, my passport picture. I had there's so many questions that could be up there, but what do people like when you flash this to the police or you present this as your ID? Is it questioned?
Yeah, Dennis and I were talking about this, earlier. Is that there's a lot of cops, our militia is they're not aware of these things. They thought, just like, think about with doctors too, you think that first do no harm, right? The Hippocratic Oath. And then the next thing that they're doing is prescribing a lot of harm with the things that are being prescribed, let's just say. And so I don't think that there are bad people. I think that they're just in a bad system and they're completely unaware. So we're educating people, we're educating our militia cops just as much as we are on this webinar. And as long as you know your rights and you're speaking them from a place of confidence and courage and compassion that you're teaching them too, then just like Dennis said, and we talked about in our last webinar here, is it says do not detain. So if they pull you over and you show them this, and I just got my notification just yesterday from the DMV of California saying that my former plates are now expired. And I'm like, great, that's another confirmation of my ticket to freedom. So, there are still things that we're working on. People are talking about traveling across the border, like you and I, we travel across to go to Mexico. And so can we drive across the border with just our plates on without them being registered plates? And so these are things that are now being covered as well, so that we know the answers, because some of those things are a little bit gray areas. They should. And so that was also what Dennis and I wanted to cover, make clear too, for traveling to different countries.
I know, Dennis, you showed an Arizona license plate that had, designating numbers like letter Z and not for hire. And I'm sure that's all, legal and above board. Where do we get that when we sign up to be a sovereign of our state?
Yeah, we can order them right now. We have a guy in Alabama that makes these plates, and as you become a state national or state citizen, you can order those plates. I think they cost $25, and a donation
$25.
goes in, and so I'm sorry.
Yep, they're 25.
25, yeah. And if you want your initials put on it, let me see if I can grab one here real quick to show you again.
So the whole thing is $50. It's $25 to go sovereign, and it's $25 to file your papers, and then it's $25 to get your plate. So $50 for freedom. That sounds expensive to me.
Wow.
There you go. So, but that's the plate, and those are my initials on there. And it's for, the United States of America, unincorporated. Just to, we've specifically mentioned that because everyone else is a corporation, and we, the people, own the charters of every corporation in America. And most of those charters are illegal because they were put in by non-chartered and non-voted in an illegal Congress. Okay, so we may be getting flack. We were talking a little bit of before the show about freedom of speech and so on like that. They want to stifle us as much as they can, so they take away our freedom of speech. A lot of stations won't, put out our videos and so on because we say a bad word. Okay. You could call the sky is blue. If they disagree with you and say it's orange, all of a sudden you're nixed out of there. But they don't want to hear the truth. But eventually, very shortly, okay, they're going to have to, because there's 300 million people in the United States. All right. Right now, there's 30 million plus that have become American nationals or state nationals. All right. As it keeps growing, they're going to be pushed aside because we own every building. Who pays for those? You do. We do. We all do. We could go in and say, hey, you've got a vacant office. We're going to use it. And we don't have to pay for it because we already did. So that's how the power of the people works. We own everything. The corporations want to keep it null and void, and keep you under their thumb so that they have control over what we do, what we see, what we eat, how we work, how we get paid, whatever.
Okay, now you said something last time that absolutely blew my mind. That a sheriff can kick out the CIA, the FBI, anybody. And so this changes the perception, I think, that the average person has, that the federal government is the ultimate power and they control the states. But then you got state governors like South Dakota, and she decided to not follow along with the whole lockdown and everything else.
Right.
And then you start to think they're nation states, that the states have power. But the states don't have the power. It's really the counties in the state that control that state. And the people in those counties control that county, if they had their real voice. And that's that again, it's I think it's the opposite of what people have a mindset. Can you explain the difference between common law and administrative law?
Administrative law is the corporation law. Any kind of rule or thing, just like them saying you have to have a driver's license, you have to have car insurance, you have to have car plates. That's administrative law. It's by the corporations. It's just another way. And for a license to be a doctor, you don't have to have a license to be a doctor. That's our corporate thing, to bilk money out of you and everyone. Okay. And the common law is we hurt no one, we help everyone, and we all live together in peace and harmony. And that's what it's about. And the power doesn't actually, well, it does come from the state, but it actually comes from the people. The people have the power. They form their counties, their county assemblies, and as those get populated, it's the state assembly. And each county has its own courts and its own assembly, and each state is its own nation.
Now, Diane, you were talking last time about paying taxes. We'd be happy with it if it covered, healthcare, education, the way that we think is appropriate. Now, there's things going on that don't make sense, like deficit spending. You're spending more than you're making. Printing, telling you can't work, and then we're going to print a bunch of money so you don't need to work. I mean, and this is just, it's adding debt to our grandchildren and children. We, has the average Joe or Joette. I mean, what? How can we get out of? Is that debt ours, or is the debt part of the government that is a corporation? And what?
Who owns the debt?
Who owns the debt?
Yeah, I think it's, I'll turn this one over to Dennis, but I did want to say that it's, I think it's perfect timing that we were recording this on April 15th.
Good point.
And this is the first year that I'm like, oh, normally I pay like 35,000, and this year, what am I going to do with 35,000? And it's not to say I'm not doing my part, because I've been posting about this a lot on my social media, and people are like, well, you don't want to pay for the roads. I'm like, do you really think that that's where this money is going, is for our betterment? Like, tell me what percentage of what you're paying in taxes is going to the roads. And I would be happy to pay that if I knew that that's where it was going. But for the most part, it's not. And then Dennis actually told me that that's part of what we pay in sales taxes wherever we are and we're purchasing things. And it's a totally different bucket of money that's coming from. And now I'll hand it over to Dennis so we can answer that question. Who owns the debt? Who owns this invisible, created, printed, making it rain money out of nowhere? Who owns that?
Okay, the government owns the debt. They spend like crazy. They just go nuts. And whose money are they spending? They're spending ours. And who do they owe that money to? The 160 trillion or more in the national debt is owed to we the people. They owe us that money. There are corporations out there that use your social security number, they use your birth certificate number, and they trade you like stock. Each and every individual in the United States is owed billions of dollars. They can't even pay it back. That's who's owed the money. We are.
So we can actually, when we get organized, okay, we start by, like, how do you change the world? You change yourself. So we start by changing our personal status, and then we contact our local communities, okay, our local counties, and we get involved in that, where we're talking, we get our ID changed. And this is literally the wave. We've got 10% of America behind it almost right now. Okay, if there's 30 million and we got 33 million, what are we looking like? 8-9%? We're getting close to that. And usually 15% is when changes really happen. So by doing these changes, and I know everything's involved, what's the best way for people to get involved right now? Like,
go ahead.
Well, I know there's a ton of websites, and we're going to put all of these on, and we're going to put this on YouTube now. I was scared about putting the last one up because of the censorship rules.
Right.
And we don't want to say that social media is a monopoly and they should be dissolved. That would be bad.
right?
So I'm not going to say that.
We love
Exactly.
social media.
We
I
love
love
social
it
media.
too.
Yeah, the fact checkers.
You want the
So
website? Is that what you're saying for people to go to get information, Dr. B?
yeah, what
Okay, sure.
because there's the questions about the Constitution, the legality of this. It goes back into ancient law. It's almost like this is how it was meant to be, but
Yeah, it is.
they've taken it over.
Yes. And if you think about just the vibration of the planet right now and where we are, and if you look at our, times of the shifts and the Schumann frequency, we're all rising to a higher vibrational frequency of love. And we're in it right now. And we have been in it for the woo-woos out there, is what some would like to call it, since 2012. We've had some major shifts in freedom. And this is known out there, which is why the truth is being suppressed. So when I went through this process myself, starting in December, and I've known about this 15 years ago, since when I was a financial planner in my 20s, which is when I first saw this whole stock market thing. And I went, this whole thing is a fraud. And I watched Enron collapse, and I watched my clients lose their pensions. And I went, how is this even possible? So I have a background in being a financial planner and helping people to build their wealth and to preserve it, and then watching it being taken away from them. And after they've been loyal to a company like United Airlines for 20 years, and they lost $6,000 a month, and they had to, go back to work until they were 70. That's not cool. And that's what happens when we're working for these corporations. So anyway, my point is that I went through this whole process and I went, okay, there's a lot of different moving pieces. How can we simplify this? So it's really like click here, learn this here, apply here, go here. So what we did, thanks to Brandy, my roommate, and then Dennis and myself and several other people in Sedona, we put this website together for you guys where it's really simple. It's really turnkey. How to go, where to go, what time, who to ask questions to, how to dig more into this, because there's resources all over the place. And there's some that say that we're just terrible people, that are selfish. And then there's the truth, which is what we're talking about here. And you can make your own distinction. It's go to www, whether you're a business owner, if you have kids, if you're traveling, if you're from another country, what about dual citizenship? I mean, there's a lot of pieces to this. So it sounds too good to be true. So you're probably gonna have a lot of questions, and that's where you can get help.
That makes sense. I mean, you being a financial planner and taxes, that's, a third to 50% of our income, based on the business. That's a big deal. Normally, when you don't pay that, you get bills from the IRS saying, hey, look, you've got to pay this. We're going to attach your bank account. We're going to attach any income. I mean, do you send them a letter that says, look, I'm a sovereign now, I don't need to pay you?
Yeah, that's what Dennis was talking about literally before we got in this call. It's like, what do we do when when they come knocking on the door? We get scared. We're like, oh my God. I went through 2 audits myself when I sold my financial planning company. And of course they were like, hey, we get some of that, So it's not fun to go through an audit, but go ahead and answer the question, Dennis, because that's what we're going through with me right now.
Okay, Dr. B, are you a federal employee?
No.
Okay, then why are you paying taxes?
Because I'm told to.
Yeah, by who? The guys
by
with the
actually by my accountant, okay, and my business manager. So
right.
it's it's
Yeah.
not my field. I know how to fix humans.
There you go. Well, now we're gonna. I'm gonna say this. They're not gonna like it. Well, now it's time to fix your financial. Okay. Taxes. If you're not a federal employee, you do not have to pay federal taxes. And state taxes are based on federal taxes. All right, when you become an American state national or state citizen, you no longer have to pay taxes. Okay, because taxes are voluntary. And we have a form, 2 forms. The same form goes to the IRS and the Internal Revenue Service. You just fill that little form out and mail it out to them because taxes are voluntary. We even have the director for the Internal Revenue Service on video that says that taxes are voluntary. But they threaten the living daylights out of you. They'll throw you in jail. They say they could, garnish your bank account, the whole bit. They don't.
Yeah.
They have no power. So what they do is they contact the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and trump up some charges about you carrying weapons to another state or selling them someplace, or some kind of drug or some kind of tobacco. So they come out and they arrest you and they throw you in jail. Okay, because they're trumping that up. Because The taxes are voluntary. You don't have to pay taxes.
Okay, but
It's just that, go ahead.
if you have a corporation, you got to pay the corporate taxes because corporate is an artificial person.
Yes, it's
And
a
if
dead
you're
entity. Yeah.
and since nobody, when you form a corporation, you become an employee of that corporation. So then
Yep.
that's your income. So
Yeah.
even if you own the corporation, the corporate has to pay its taxes because it's an artificial person. But
Yep.
the person that's like the president or something, they don't have to pay their income tax from that corporation personally, but they
Right.
do have to pay the corporate taxes.
Yeah. So what you do is you get rid of the corporation and make it a private business. You don't
Wow.
have to, if you have an LLC, we tell people to dissolve it, call the Secretary of State and dissolve your LLC and your incorporation. When you're incorporated, you have to pay the corporate tax. So if you make it a family business or a personal business, a mom and pop, whatever, okay, you don't have to be a corporation to work in the world. You don't have to have a license to work in the world. It's totally illegal. They cannot make a living man or woman get any kind of license to prevent them from working.
Okay,
It's totally illegal.
you realize that what we're talking about, the title of this is Slavery to Sovereignty.
Exactly.
I mean, this is everything. This is everything. It's you're empowered. I mean, Diane, with your history as a financial planner, this has got to be completely different from what you learned in school.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and in the different things that I got certified through too, right? Because I had certifications to be a stockbroker, to sell life insurance, long-term care insurance, mutual funds, annuities. And I was working with estate planners, estate attorneys, CPAs, to make sure that I was trying to find the loopholes for them as much as possible, right? To preserve their wealth. And if something were to happen, if there were accidents, insurance is still a good idea to have. So just because you're sovereign doesn't mean that you should be stupid and not have insurance, because if something happens, you're driving, even though we're driving in the land that we own and the soil that we own, it doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to, rail into us. So yes, you still keep your insurances to preserve your wealth. But, every time I hear the word corporation, I now say the words corpsoration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I take my little tiny red thumbprint. It's a tiny one, so it doesn't, spill all over my purse, but it's a tiny little red thumbprint. So whenever I sign something, it says by, and then my name written in blue ink with a red thumbprint, just like it is here, because I am a live being. When you're black, you're a corpse. So that's the whole point behind this red sign, right? And so now if we're looking at this entire process, it's very simple, and it can be a turnoff for some people because of what we're talking about, especially me, right? I was just like you too, Dr. B. I had my business as a corporation. I have a lot of employees that I hire around the world. And so now when I bring them on, I say, they ask me, am I going to get a 1099 from you? And I say, no, I do not pay taxes. I will pay you, and you could decide if you want to pay taxes on that. So I'll pay you $10,000, but it's up to you if you want to, pay 20, 30, 60% on those taxes. Essentially, I'm saying I'm paying you under the table now, but there is no more such thing as under the table, because now it's over the table, but we're sovereign. So there's nothing to hide from anymore, right? And if you look at what's happening in New York right now, I don't know if you guys have been following this or seeing this, but my boyfriend just showed this to me. They're slapping so many taxes on New Yorkians, however you say that, is that they're going to be up to now 60% tax bracket, and they're going to keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. And there's going to be a lot of people moving from New York because taxes are going to go so much higher. How do you think we're going to pay for these 20% plus people who are on unemployment right now, making $2,000 a month doing nothing? How?
Wow. Okay. It's got to be taxes. I mean, how are we going to pay for the trillions that people are spending in ways that I don't like?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
This is part 2 of a multi-part series. Okay. I don't want to stop this.
Never do, right? How to keep being free.
Okay. We're definitely going to continue this on, but it's, thank you. Thank you for getting this stuff done. Diane, talk about a warrior for everything. And Dennis, buddy, without you and without people actually looking into the history, we wouldn't know that we have these rights.
Exactly.
Okay.
And thanks for Anna and her law team, because they're out, doing the research and getting all of this stuff done and showing us exactly what we need to do to get in the right track. Her and her law firm, her law team got everything together and had all the paperwork done for us. All we have to do is fill it out,
So
and
Dennis,
we're good to go.
I mean, I just started the paperwork. Okay, Dennis,
Good.
what would you give in like 20 seconds to tell somebody what they could start to do right now?
Right now, get off the couch, get out from under the I'm sorry, the boob tube, and do something. Go to the websites that you're going to post out there, and get started. Call your state coordinator. It's on the AmericanStatesAssembly.net website. You can find out who the coordinator is. They'll tell you who the recorder is, so you can get your paperwork done, recorded, get back on the land and soil, become a sovereign, become a state citizen, state national, and help the assembly grow. The faster we do it, the quicker the freedoms will come back.
Good God, Diane, what? Oh, Jesus. What would 20 seconds? What would you tell people to get started?
Oh my God, 20 seconds. Okay. Do what Dennis just said. Push this at the highest part of your list. This is prio number one. No one likes what's happening right now, but a lot of people are talking about, do you see what they're going to do? Do you see what they're going to do next? Did you see what happened over here? But that's just all talk. Get off the boob tube, like Dennis said. This is the governing, overarching thing. When you have your freedom here, no one can tell you to wear a mask anymore. No one can tell you to do things and
Don't do that.
inject things into your body. They can't tell you that you need to close your business because your shoppers are not wearing the things on their face. This is all under the whole guise of politics. So some people say, I can't believe you're in politics. I didn't know you were going to get into politics, Diane. I'm like, this is not politics. This is freedom. And this has an overarching theme over everything. So when you're free in one area, and that's this, and you reclaim your soul back to God, you are free in every area of your life, and you don't have to keep fighting. You don't have to keep fighting and recalling, and it's resistance. Resistance causes sickness.
Oh,
so if we're no longer resisting, you don't have a sickness anymore.
okay, here's a little advice that I give to my patients. If someone says, "Did you get the shot? Did you get the shot? Did you get?" Say, "Yeah." And you tell them, you say, "Yes, it's an experimental procedure, and I'm part of the control group."
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay, I love you guys. Okay, that we got to get going, but God bless you. God bless you. I mean, this is what the future of the world is going to be like, where we are we are self-governing, self-appreciating group of people that love the world.
And we have to, otherwise it's going to go right down the toilet. I hate to say it. So we have to change it around. We have to be positive. We have to work together. It's freedom. It's enjoyment together. It's living the way we're supposed to live.
Wait,
We've been lied to for 150 years. Let's, quit believing. I don't want to say, I'm not going to say it. Quit believing everything you hear. Okay. And you do your homework, do your studying. We're
wait,
here to help.
this requires action? You mean I
It
can't
does.
just sit down and have other people do it for me?
No,
Right.
no.
And it requires a lot of courage. That's why I call myself the courage coach, because I realize I could tell people all day long, take these pills, do this detox, get adjusted by Dr. B, who I've referred people to you before, but none of that's going to matter, because you're going to keep creating your own storms if you don't have courage to stand up for yourself and protect your God created temple. I mean, you keep putting your kids with masks on, you're authorizing it every single time you put a mask on. You're saying, I obey, I agree. I'm paying into this system to be a slave of it. Just know that every choice you make, you're either part of action toward freedom, or you're part of the problem toward obedience, and you get to decide with every action that you take.
Why do I
Freedom
get
or slavery?
goosebumps every
Because
time?
because it's the truth. That's why.
When you really see this stuff, Dr. V, and you see the plan of the future, if we don't wake up together, it's the only language that you're going to want to speak is freedom. Language of sovereignty.
Amen. God bless you both. Okay, until next week, stay tuned at the same bat chime at the same bat channel. God bless you all.
You too. Thanks,
Talk to you
Dr.
later.
V.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mm.
If you can hear my voice, you are part of the resistance.